Hello everybody, Andy here, and today I'm talking about something that isn't Kill Team. Shocking, I know. So I'm talking about Warhammer Underworlds. Now for those of you that follow me for a little bit of time, you might be aware that every, I don't know, 2 years, I try to start doing some Underworlds content because I get really excited for what they're doing, but then something goes wrong. Whether it's with the game or with me having the attention span of a gnat, who knows? You know, we don't need to blame. But I want to talk about it again because they've just announced what I wanted them to announce on this Warhammer Day reveal, which is that they're rebooting Underworlds. So I watched the stream and I'm just going to tell you what they said. There you go, that's it. Yeah, cool. Okay, so of course before we get into that, I would like to say that if you're subscribed to my channel, I'd like to give you a big double hello. What is a double hello? Great question. Well, a double hello is a pleasantry that's given to you twice from me to you because you're cool and wholesome. Hashtag polite gang rise up. Okay, let's go over to the pictures that they showed us. So the new, we've got a new logo. That's how we kind of assumed it might be a new edition for sure, but it seems like they're going with a full reboot. So they're redoing the artwork. Well, artwork. We'll talk about that in a moment. They're redoing everything. So there's a lot of unknowns, but I want to tell you why I personally am. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Am excited, and what I can tell you about it. Okay, so this is the artwork for it. It's going to be called Ember Guard because that's where this takes place now. It's some Age of Sigmar lore stuff. Cool. This is how it is now. So. One of the changes is it used to be in Warhammer Underworlds that both players would bring half of a board and you would be able to put that board down, and then depending on if you were going first or second, the opponent could put down their board, which they pick from a range of different boards, in whatever kind of orientation they wanted, and so you could kind of select the battlefield kind of for your advantage. If you wanted to have more traps, you could pick a board with more traps, blah blah blah. I was never a big player, and I'm going to talk about why once I've finished going through the reveals. But we can also see here, obviously new artwork, but also single board. That's kind of the new big thing, and certainly looking at it, it looks far more open than it used to be, which I imagine if I was used to Warhammer Underworlds, that would mean something to me, but it doesn't really. I'm just saying that's a change. Also, whilst we have it here, is it going to show up on the other? No, it's not. So very quickly here, if you look at these cards on the right hand side, these are our new kind of unit cards, totally changed. So the way it used to be laid out is you've got a piece of artwork, a custom piece of artwork saying this is your model, and then you had your stats, which you still have your stats, and you also had some text, and that text would normally say how they become inspired, which is basically how they get stronger. Cool. Which is normally something like kill a model, you get strong, flip the card over, you're inspired. Or if it's a whole bunch of different things, it's different for every faction. Cool. So now they've kind of reformatted things a little bit. So there's no more artwork. They made that very clear. The artwork is gone. Instead, we're getting pictures of models. Now, I will say that the pictures we see here look super bland. They're just a straight on picture of the model. Big downgrade, if I'm being honest with you. However, they did show us some of the other artwork, which was like for your glory, your kills, etc. I don't know what they're called, your ploys. I'm going to use kill team terms. Your ploys and your tac ops, etc. And those looked like they had way more going on with them, and so I was actually much happier with that. But these are very functional. It's just, this is the model, which, yes, is a downgrade. However, from a readability perspective, it is better. But to each their own. And then if you see, we see it above here, this is almost looking a little bit like a Warcry card, here and here. This is giving you all of your special rules for your faction. So instead of having how you become inspired on the cards, you have it on the index card. There you go. And that's it. Cool, that's about it. Let's have a quick look at the two warbands, I assume they're called. So we get the Ember Watch, which of course are our Stormcast Eternals, which are they're from the Vanguard chamber. You can tell because they have the animal based fur cloaks. Cool, I guess. pass. And then you get the... sorry, to clarify, I like them. I think they look cool. They look fine. You know, like very kind of generic-y D&D style dudes in armor. I like that. Awesome. And then you get the Skaven. These are also fine. I've got to be honest, I like Skaven, but something here isn't tickling me. I don't know why. I think it's these two. So I like the leader. This is fine. I like the rat. But these two are doing a bit of nothing for me. Can't tell you why, really. Anyway, moving on. That's it. That's all we saw for the reveals. So going back now to this, because this makes the most sense to look at as I talk. How long have we got? Yeah, okay. So, what else did they tell us? So they said that if you're going to, I think it was, no, it can't be Nova. There's Tampa. If you're going to Tampa next weekend, they're showing this already. So if you're there, you can go and play a game of Warhammer Underworlds, which is good. That means that it's probably releasing very soon. Probably to the point that influencers probably have this. Painters are probably painting this up right now. I don't have this, so that's a bit of a shame, but understandable, because it's not like I'm an Underworlds content creator, but I may well go and buy this. Cool, because the last box they sent out sucked. Some of the worst models I've ever seen from Underworlds, if I'm being honest with you. These look fine. Again, Stormcast Eternals, a little bit generic-y, but fine by me. Skaven, if you like Ratmen, they're pretty good, I'm sure. Cool. So, Warhammer Underworlds. Why have I not become a channel, or why should I like it, and why do I not? Right. Warhammer Underworlds ticks so many boxes for me that it should be my game, right? It is faster to play than Kill Team. It is... because everything's just on the cards right in front of you, you should, in theory, be making far fewer rules mistakes. You only need like 3 models, potentially. I think the max is 7. So like, there's almost no hobby. And beyond that, even in competitive tournaments, there is no hobby requirement. That's part of the game. It is there for that kind of board game, card game, miniature game crowd to come together. So it's a really cool niche. But I'm not sure I've ever truly enjoyed a game. Now that's partly because I haven't played it enough to like really get my head past, I need to learn the rules, I need to stop thinking about the rules so I can just enjoy the game. But I don't think I've ever truly loved it, loved a game, which is probably on me, not the game there. The other problem is that it is pitched, well, very differently. Sorry, if I go back, they don't have it here. Okay, so this is the other thing they said in the stream. When they were flashing up, Warhammer Underworlds, new edition. In the past, the tagline for Warhammer Underworlds had always been competitive. This is our most competitive game from Games Workshop. That is gone. Now, everything they flashed up was just more accessible, more fun. I was like, oh. Now, is that just the messaging? Or have they kind of realised that maybe they were shooting themselves in the foot a little bit by saying this is our most competitive game, and yet also having the smallest competitive scene from any of their games? Right? Like, that could be a thing, because sure enough, if you're told a game is competitive, and we of course as players have the ability to look up on BCP how big the tournaments that happen in Underworlds are, and it's the smallest event, it's the smallest game in any event it's at that involves any other GW game, well, that's a little bit of a letdown, right? Because there's so much about Underworlds that is casual, is good for casuals, like it's smaller, faster, cheaper, etc. But nobody plays it. And yet they push it for the competitive. It's very confusing to me. I don't know what to make of it. But sure enough, if you tell me that one of your games is competitive, and I see that it is the smallest competitive game you do, well, I'll probably play the other game, Kill Team, that's also competitive and is also, smaller and faster than 40k, right? But gives me 40k models. There you go. These are my thoughts. So, with the new edition, I'm excited for it. I'm a new edition lover, right? That's a whole other video, but I enjoy a new edition because this is a chance to get new eyes on it and new people that decide, you know what, I've seen the new Age of Sigmar, I've dabbled, I'm tired of 10th edition, the new Hive Storm isn't for me. Underworlds, hey, this could be your thing. It's cheaper, it's faster, etc. And in theory, because it's card based, it's also a tighter rule set than anything else because of the way it has to process its rules. But is it? There you go. That's my big question. I will buy this box, Emberguard, whenever it releases, and I will paint up my models because that's what I do, at least the Stormcast. And the question remains though, will I play the game? I hope that the answer is yes, but I don't know. Oh, there you go. I'm basically at the end of the video, but there is one more thing that they hinted at. And it's the big question for anyone that's... So I'm fine. Yes, I have loads of Warhammer Underworlds. I have it ranging back from the first edition, from when it was Shadespire, right? So I've got a lot sitting around doing nothing for me. But the question is, what is still going to be valid? Because this is a full reboot. Now, one of the big issues that Underworlds had is that you couldn't actually buy most of the game. So they kept in a starter box, and then every year they gave a new big box. And that was fine, I suppose, but they have a cycle of 2 years, but they kept all of the warbands legal. You just couldn't buy them, so there could be people turning up with Shadespire warbands that you cannot buy. But yeah, that's always a problem. So one of the things they specifically said, and that's how you know this is really bad, is they said in the stream that everything that is legal to play will be sold, which is insane that they thought that shouldn't be the case in the first place, to clarify. But that's a good sign that they realised they messed up. In a competitive game, having teams you can't buy is probably a bad idea. It does imply that they're now going to cycle harder, I would assume, so yeah, probably. But also, the question is, where's the cutoff? What from my old warbands is still going to be legal, right? Is it going to be... We did see artwork from as far back as Hexbane. Is that as far as it goes? Does it go further back? Or is that it? Is Hexbane the cutoff? So, for example, me, I've got loads. I've got loads of Underworlds lying around for some reason. Is that gone? I don't care, to clarify. This isn't a negative, it's just I need to know. Or... what they tried to do in the past when they relaunched this kind of Rivals, Nemesis, etc. Nemesis Plus? No, it's got a different name. Is they tried to make things backwards compatible. So, as I said, if you had the warband, you could play those profiles. You just had to use a different deck. And that's fine. But still, nobody could buy those profiles. It was a whole thing. It was a terrible decision. But they're learning. The only question is, through that learning process, have enough people gotten into Underworlds, realised it's not for them because of bad things that GW has done, and moved on, and so will not revisit it? Or is this the time for a new lease on life, as that new edition always gets new eyes on a product, and that's exactly what Underworlds needs. It needs a bigger, thriving community to kind of bring out what it should be, which is the fast, competitive card game that GW wants it to be. Because it isn't that at the moment. There's just not enough people to sustain it unless you live in Warhammer World. In which case, you get some great tournaments like every Friday. It seems to be booming there, but nowhere else. Cool. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. If you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Wow, so wholesome. That's a thank you from me to you for watching the whole video. All right, well, thanks, everybody. Underworlds. I've also done a Kill Team video. Check that out too.